Are you?
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. My name is Eva Marie Everson. I am the director of Florida Christian Writers Conference as well as the CEO of Word Weavers International. My favorite sidekick is here.
Hello, I'm Taryn Suiters, and I am the co-director of the Florida Christian Writers Conference. And we have with us today one of our Florida Christian Writers Conference favorites, Bethany Jett, and she is also my fabulous agent. And she is going to tell us a little bit about the amazing workshop that she's going to be doing on Wednesday. And then she's also going to touch on some of the other classes that she is going to be teaching. So, Bethany,
Yeah,
take it away.
welcome, Bethany. So, first of all, Florida Christian Writers Conference this year will be October 21st through the 26th, and the 21st is a Wednesday. All day Wednesday, we have special offerings. We have the nonfiction intensive, which goes from 10 o'clock in the morning until I think 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we have Michelle Medlock Adams is teaching I'm going to call this a restricted intensive. It's for writers who write children's picture books. And I say it's restrictive because she only allows 10 to 12 people. Angie Hunt will be teaching on an all day intensive on writing fiction. She's only allowing 35. And then our Bethany Jett is going to come in and teach a 3 hour workshop. And the title of that workshop is The Market Minded Writer. It's a 3 hour workshop, like I just said, and it's going to take you from idea to industry ready. So, Bethany, first of all, thank you for being here and thank you for coming to Florida every year. You grace us with your presence, and we just love having you. Tell us, first of all, a little bit about you and what you do within the industry.
I am an author. I started on the author side of this industry. My first conference was the Florida Christian Writers
Mhm.
Conference. Best advice I heard that year was come back the second year, go back to back. And that was fabulous. And that's my advice to first timers, come back. And that kind of started everything for me. I got an agent and a book deal from that conference, which doesn't always happen, but that was how God pushed me into this world. And now I am a literary agent with McGregor and Liedeke, and love that so much. And I acquire uh, select select genres in all categories: nonfiction, fiction, and children's.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Okay. And
yep.
so, of course, you will be representing McGregor and Lita Key while you're at the Florida conference. You'll be taking pitches, et cetera. But let's talk about this 3 hour workshop because I think it's probably one of the best ideas that we've heard in a long time. Like, this is something writers need to hear. So tell us a little bit about it.
So this class is going to be good if you are looking at an indie career or a hybrid career or want to go traditional publishing, although it will be taught through the traditional publishing lens.
Mhm.
But no matter how you want to publish, you still need to know your market, and that's going to be important for you. So it's not so much on marketing, although I probably will sprinkle some of that in. But this is going to be how to determine what the market needs are right now, how to distinguish between, yes, this is good for the market versus just chasing trends, which
Mhm.
can be a downfall for so many writers, but how to actually research that. Like, where do you get started in looking to see what the market's needs are going to be 2 to 3 years down the road? Because that's when your book's probably going to come out if it goes traditional.
Right. Right.
And then also, if you're going traditional, you're going to be querying agents. And so I'm going to talk about how to put your best foot forward. There's so many mistakes,
Mhm.
common mistakes, early mistakes that I see when I'm in my query inbox, and I want to help you avoid those so that you have a better chance of an agent saying, yes, I want to see pages, and kind of going through the business side of publishing, which I think is going to help you determine which type of publishing you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. It's because it really is not a one size fits all. This industry
No.
is not. And I'm glad you said something about the trends because this is something that happens quite frequently. A trend hits and then
Mhm.
people want to jump on that trend, but they don't realize that by the time
Yeah.
their trendy book gets published,
Hmm.
that trend may be over.
Mhm.
So, how do you avoid that?
It's research.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'll tell people who are watching us ahead of time Publishers Marketplace is going to be a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to be
Mhm.
diving into that in the class, but that's where a lot of agents, including myself, are looking to see what's happening right now. So the
Mhm.
books on the shelf, those deals happened 2 or 3 years ago, maybe
Mhm.
more. And
Mhm.
depending on the genre or category that you're writing, it's going to differ as to the life of your book. So, like political nonfiction, that moves very quickly. They're
Mhm.
not looking at a 10-year span for that book, it's going to
Yeah.
be short.
Mhm.
So, kind of going into those nuances of it, but paying attention to what deals are being put on Publishers Marketplace can also help. It's what a lot of agents do. And then um, also giving a lot of resources too. There's a lot of podcasts where agents talk about what's happening in the market and what they're hearing from editors, because that's really where we're getting our information is what books are the editors doing. And last little tidbit, a lot of publishers are looking at the indie market. And
Yeah.
so if you're an indie writer, you can definitely jump over to traditional if you want to, but there's things you have to do first. And so we're
Yeah.
going to dive into that too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Bethany, quick question for you. Would this class be ideal for someone who is just, they don't have a manuscript yet, and they want to start writing, so they should attend your class to figure out, okay, what should I write? Is it better for someone who has a manuscript and this will help them figure out where it could be placed, or everyone is welcome and it's ideal for everybody?
It kind of is ideal for everybody, which is like the kiss of death term in publishing, right? Because if you're thinking about a book you're currently writing, you may say, okay, I'm going to change these things and pivot, which is one of my favorite words. But you also may be brand new, or you might have another manuscript you're thinking about, and then you can take this and apply it to your next manuscript or your first manuscript. So in that way, kind of no matter where you are, I think you're going to
Mhm.
find hopefully several things, but hopefully at least one takeaway where you're like, yes, this was it. This is what I needed.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we were talking just a moment ago about comp titles or comparative
Mhm.
titles, and that is very important as well within the market. And I've had this thought because, of course, the hottest work of fiction right now is Theo Golden. It has just stretched right across, all the genres, all the traditional publishers for secular and for Christian publishing, et cetera. It's just all across the board. And I think that what we're going to then see is a lot of people trying to imitate that,
Yeah.
where he was just being true to himself. He was just, in fact, he has a nonfiction book that he wrote about the life and death of his brother, who was his best friend, that I'm reading currently because someone sent it to me and said, I keep meaning to send this book to you, and I kept forgetting. She lives not too far from him, the author. And so she sent it to me, and of course, it has a very special meaning to me. But I thought, wow, he was just being true to himself. And that's kind of the scary thing is when people want to then imitate you. And by the time you get to a publisher and get it published, et cetera, maybe that little trend has passed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's micro trends.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hmm.
So, like romantasy, like that's the one I use in my class because it just, as you know, we have watched this grow and is now it's completely its own category. And when have we
Hmm.
seen something happen so big like
Yes.
that in a while? So going back to Publishers Marketplace, you can search that term with keywords and years. And so I kind of created a chart, and you can see it's 0, 0, 0, 15, 20. And
Yeah.
every year it's higher and higher. So when people say, is romantasy, is it dead? Not according to the deals that are happening right
Yeah.
now. They're
Right.
still, they might be saturated. At some point it may get saturated, but it might not because it kind of, you know, it's its own thing now. So yeah, we talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good. Because I know years ago, Linda Evans Shepherd had this idea for a group of women who get together for potluck and prayer, but it turns into gossip sessions. And so she calls me and she's like, I've got this idea and I'd like for you to write it with me. There are gonna be 6 women, you do 3, I'll do 3. And I'm like, yes, that sounds like a really good idea. And the first book hit right when Chick Lit was just like pow. And then the term henlit was coined. And and it rose and then it, ceased to be everything that everybody was looking for. But we just happened to hit at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I think you just have to be true to the ideas that God gives you.
You do, and you
Yeah.
have to be, at some point you have to be willing to pivot slightly if you're seeing where the market is, isn't going. Comp titles are going to be a big part of this class because,
Yeah.
I mean, Taryn and I have talked about this. There's like a love-hate relationship
Oh yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah.
It is.
with
Yeah.
Yeah.
comps.
Yeah.
When you
And
find a good comp, you're really excited,
Yeah.
but oh my word, yes.
Because you
you
have
Yes.
know,
to say it's like this, but different than.
And that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
hard.
Yeah.
Threads and X are both, there's like writer hotspots there where they're talking about the querying process. And so I'm always reading through, conversations that are happening on those platforms, and comps get a bad rap. But someone, it may have been an agent, I don't know who originated it, but they were talking about comps like burgers. And they said, if you're creating this burger and you're going to be sharing it with someone, you're going to comp it to things they know. You're going to say it's got, the minced onions of McDonald's with the sesame seed of this place. And so you're
Yeah.
saying, and they're like, oh, like I need that in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they're understanding. I was like, that is a great way to think of comps.
That is a good way to
It's
think about
new,
it. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
here's why you're going to love it.
Yeah, and one of the things that we don't want to ever do is if you get a big title, like let's say Theo of Golden, because again, everybody's talking about it right now, and you don't want to say it's like Theo of Golden, but so much better. So you don't want to do that, but you want to say it has that flavor. Going back to
Right.
the burger,
Yes.
it has that flavor, but it also has its own spices. And, you have to be able to allude to that. And learning how to do that is critical. I know in working with writers as a coach, when we get to the comp titles and the marketability within the publishing world, that's one of the hardest things that they come up against.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is, but it works for your readers too. So there was a book,
Mhm.
there's been a couple books where I bought on the spot just on their like comparison lines.
Yes.
One of them I think is The Compound. I think that's the title. I bought it and read it in the same day. I was obsessed because I saw the pitch or someone was talking about it and they said it's reality TV meets Of Mice and Men.
Mm.
Oh,
That was it. I
okay.
was like,
Yeah.
I have to,
Now I
I
have to
have to
read
have
this.
this book,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was delightful. But the reality TV got me because it's a guilty pleasure for me with some things, right? And so like if you can, it's so hard as the writer to come up with
Yeah.
those lines, but they work on the reader side and they will carry you through agents to the editors. Everyone's pitching your book.
Mhm.
Agents have to pitch it to the editors.
Mhm.
They have to pitch it to that pub board, to sales and marketing, because sales and
Right.
marketing has to pitch it to the bookstores.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's a hard process. So we're going to dig into that.
That's great. That's excellent. Now there is a charge for this, but Taryn, can you fill us in on that? It's not a big charge, but it's going to
No,
be worth
it's
every
not. It
penny.
is not a big charge. It is totally worth your money. I believe it is
I
$60.
believe it is. Yep.
And it is, if we were to do the quick math on it, that's $20 an hour, and you cannot
No.
beat this kind of information for 20 bucks an hour.
No.
So
Mm-mm.
please, if you are interested in this class, when you go to register, make sure that when you go to register, you're registering for 2026. That is the current year that we are living in. So just double check that.
Yeah, apparently we've had some people try to register for last year. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so you're just going to click on that, and if you have any problems, just shoot us an email. We'll help you with it. It's super easy. The registration form is a piece of cake to fill out, but every once in a while we get those glitches. So let
Yeah.
us know, and we will help you if you need it. But this is totally worth your time. And then
Yes.
Bethany, you're teaching two other free workshops because it's during our regular FCWC time. You want to tell us real quick what those are about?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
One of them is called Master the Querying Process. And so we're going to be touching on querying during that 3-hour class. This workshop, though, is where we're going to deep dive into querying and kind of, so there'll be a little bit of overlap in terms of some things that I say, but this is where you're going to, hopefully like an onion, it'll be layered. And then this is where all those questions could get answered when it comes to how to query. What does that even mean? And then if you're going indie, this may not be a class that you're like super excited about, but there will be a little bit of tips and things about the market that go into querying. And so that may be good for you.
Excellent. And
And
then
what
you've got
else?
another one.
The other one, oh, this is the one is called The Invisibles of Marketing. And especially for nonfiction, although I will say it kind of depends in the Christian market, you're going to see a need for platform kind of no matter what you write. On the general market side, children and fiction doesn't really require a platform so much. If you're going for the bigger houses, smaller houses are going to need it. So basically, you're going to need platform at some level, no matter what you're writing. And we're even seeing one of the big five at least is now asking for platform in fiction. So we're sort of seeing this kind of shift in the general market over there. But a lot of times there's these invisibles. And so those are the things that I can't see. If I go to your social media, I can look at your follower count. I can look at your engagement rates if I'm kind of like scrolling through. But you might have a podcast that I didn't find, and I don't know what your downloads are. I don't know where you're ranked necessarily. You may have an email list that has tens of thousands of followers, but I can't see that data. And so you may have relationships with organizations who are ready to buy this book and send it out to everybody on their email list. So these are things that you have sort of in your arsenal, but can't be seen from a cursory glance. And so we're going to deep dive into how to leverage those things, how to like think about where those invisibles are, and then how to package them in your query and then in your proposals so that an agent can look at it and say, okay, I know how to pitch this person then. And again, that goes all the way to the booksellers.
Yes, absolutely right. Again, people don't realize the tier that's involved in publishing. It's not just one. You don't just have to sell it to an agent, or you don't just have to sell it to an acquisitions editor. It keeps going and going. And in fact, mentioning that, my book, Miss Beth Betancourt, which comes out tomorrow, I pitched the idea for this to Steve Lobby probably back in 2002, I would think, somewhere around there. And he loved it. And now it was not the book that it became. It was something completely different. It was set in modern times. It really focused on the two sisters. And he loved it. Took it to the pub board. They said no. They said it wasn't ready. It's just, this story is just not ready. Guess what? They were right. So even though the acquisitions editor loved it, the pub board did not. And I didn't have the platform to sell it at that point. Now I do. And I actually thank Steve in the back of the book for rejecting it, because it became such a better book than it would have been originally.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's exciting. Yes. So if y'all have not ordered or pre-ordered your copy of Miss Beth Betancourt, you need to do that. I'm reading it now and it's fantastic. You will not be sorry. Bethany, thank you so much for joining us. And y'all, when you just realize that Bethany is talking to you as an agent, as an author, but also as like a marketing specialist. You got your master's in marketing, correct, Bethany?
Yeah, I did a MFA in communications. Let me do the PR and the marketing.
Right. So she is legit and she knows what she's talking about. You will not go away disappointed if you take her classes. So please join us at FCWC this year and learn from the best.
And how do you do that? You go to word-weavers.com/Florida events. We hope to see you in October.
Yes. And just one correction, Eva, you said that it was the 21st to the 26th. It is not. We stop on the 25th.
Oh, well, there will be those who just want to hang around for an extra day.
We won't.
It was 26 last year, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I think so.
Okay. Sorry. The 21st to the 25th of October. Yeah. We would have kicked you out on the 25th.
Yeah, we would have.
All right. Thank you again, Bethany. Thank you, everyone. We hope to see you in October. Bye for now.